Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. The knife before you is a Yellowhorse case custom designed by Brian Yellowhorse, son of David Yellowhorse. And this is 1 of 100. It's actually number 10 out of that series. What it is the 2024 case custom Yellowhorse knives that are put up through Shepherd Hills Cutlery. And this one features a chala wood handle with turquoise accents. So chala wood is a type of cactus found in Arizona. And so the wood has been, I'm assuming it has been stabilized, and then the genuine turquoise has been entered into the various holes that naturally form in chala wood. And then, as you can tell, other work was done on the bolsters and so on and so forth. And you see here the blade edge Yellowhorse case custom. On the backside, you see 10 of 100 Brian Yellowhorse on the backside. I will talk a little bit more about the knife in just a second, but before I do that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the saga behind me finally picking up a Yellowhorse knife, because I have been thinking of picking up a Yellowhorse knife at least for 10 or 11 years, maybe even longer than that. My first experience with knives from Yellowhorse was the Rough Rider Arrowhead pocket knives, custom designed by Brian Yellowhorse, and you see it right here. I've always been a fan of turquoise on knives. This obviously is not genuine turquoise. This is a synthetic turquoise, and it's probably completely just plastic with, black running through it there to make the veins and everything. And it's pretty cool. It's got that rough texture on there. And then you see the working on the bolsters here, which is a very common feature of Yellowhorse knives. And the way this work was done, it looks like it is basically a copy of the way that they would have done it. And these were obviously mass produced. I think 2,500 of each of the pattern, or 5,000 of each one of these was made. So there's like 5,000 of these tiny toothpicks floating around versus 100 of these. And as you know, these were made in China, and they were relatively inexpensive. At the time, I think these were running for about $9 or $10, but you could have got the entire series for $100, which was less than what you would have spent on a knife by David Yellowhorse or Brian Yellowhorse. And the whole purpose of these knives was to give folks who could not afford a Yellowhorse knife a feeling of what it was like. You'd have a nice looking series of knives that were at least designed by Brian Yellowhorse, even though they were not made by Brian Yellowhorse. But when I was collecting these, I obviously always dreamed of someday owning a Yellowhorse knife. Now, a Yellowhorse knife is not a knife that you buy because you're going to throw in your pocket and you're going to be using it daily. Maybe you will occasionally carry it for a very special occasion. These are, like you saw it, 1 of 100. A lot of them are even in lower numbers than that. Some of them are like 1 in 10, 1 in 25, so on and so forth. So some of them are custom made by David or Brian for an individual. So it'll be a 1 of 1. Even the Yellowhorse family doesn't own the copy of it. People will send in like a revolver or something, and David Yellowhorse will customize it, put in the turquoise, change the handle, put in new wood, do silver inlays, and so on and so forth. Now, this is one of the lower end ones because this is 1 of 100. And it's in the Case Custom series, and it's considered an exotic because of the handle material being used and everything else. So while it is not very common, there are at least 9 or 10 patterns using this chala wood with the turquoise in the holes out there, and some people will buy that entire series for the year. Some people, will have no problem spending that kind of money for it. For me, I'm happy just to have the medium toothpick. I'm not going to be going out and picking up other ones in chala wood and turquoise because it's a lot of money in my opinion for what you're getting. It's worth every penny as far as I'm concerned now that I have it. I'm really happy to have it, but I got to tell you, for the longest time, this isn't the first time I've saved up for a Yellowhorse knife. This is actually the third or fourth time that I have saved up money to pick up a Yellowhorse knife, because I have been saving up for them ever since I got these first little arrowheads, that were designed by Brian Yellowhorse. The box art here was done by Brian Wilhoit, by the way. In any case, so you had the two Brians collaborating on this for Rough Rider. In any case, at that time, Knives Live TV would often have a Yellowhorse knife on the channel, and they would sell them, and they were not cheap. They were in the $200, $300 range. And when I saw those, it's like, man, I should save up for one of those. And so what I would do is I would, squirrel away $5 this week, $10 the next week, maybe $20 this time, and, save up money from various things and everything, skip a lunch and have a little extra money and all this other stuff. And I would end up building up a nice little nest egg and think about picking up that Yellowhorse knife. And I would look at the amount of money that I saved, and it's like, that's a lot of money. There's a lot of stuff I could buy with that. Why am I just going to buy this one knife when I could buy this, this, and this? And there were several things that I, saw that I could also buy. And every time I would just put the Yellowhorse knife on the back burner and buy the other stuff. And like I said, I've done this at least 2 or 3 times in the past, where it's like I've got the money, I can buy the knife, but I spent it on other stuff instead. And this time, it was the same situation. I've been saving money for over a year for this knife. Obviously, I spend money all the time on knives, but I was squirreling away a little bit of money every week, to see what the next Yellowhorse knife from Shepherd Hills was going to be looking like. And this knife came out. It's like, well, it's got one of the main reasons that you've always wanted a Yellowhorse knife. It's got turquoise, because I passed last year because it did not have turquoise. It was using that Fordite material, really beautiful knives, but it was not turquoise, and I wanted turquoise in the knife. The year before, I still regret not buying one the year before, because those were mammoth. And I passed on that and bought other things instead. And that's what really made me, or convinced me this time, to go ahead and buy this knife. Because I look back and it's like, what did I buy instead of that mammoth toothpick from Yellowhorse that I was, I had saved up for and was going to buy? And I could not remember it. I could not remember any of the things that I bought instead of the Yellowhorse. But I could remember the knife that I did not buy. And I saw this one this year, and it's like, that is really interesting. I've never heard of chala wood, so I went and read a bit about that. And it is from the chala cactus, and the holes form naturally in it. And when the cactus dies, this is what's left over. It's the skeleton of the chala cactus. It is a type of wood. It's very common in aquariums, where it will basically disintegrate in the aquarium. However, this has been stabilized and everything else, so it's very hard wood, and it is something that is used quite often in jewelry and everything. And as you can see, it has an interesting swirl pattern to it and everything, and with the holes and everything, it just really makes a very interesting wood. All the strings running through there and everything kind of reminds me of that painting of Starry Night, the way the sky was in Starry Night, except this is obviously brown. And then you got all the turquoise in there. In any case, I saw that and it's like, you know what? I do not want to be thinking a year from now, what did I buy instead of that Yellowhorse knife that you saw and you kind of liked? And so I finally went and bought it. I pulled the trigger and bought this. I had saved up quite a bit of money for it. Could have saved a little bit more. So my knife budget is blown for the next couple months, but I'm actually quite happy that I picked this up. I'm really thrilled to have one finally. I like the bolster work on this. You'll see a lot better photos of it in the slideshow at the end here. The wood is just a glorious color. The camera really just does not do it justice, but you can kind of see there. And it's highly polished. The genuine turquoise, well, you can see the difference between the genuine turquoise and the not so genuine turquoise in the various knives that I have. And it just really makes a big difference. You know, it's just fantastic. It's something that really just, brought me a little bit of joy for the knife. And it's one of those things like, now I don't have to sit there and say, I should have bought that Brian Yellowhorse knife. Will I be buying more of them in the future? It really depends on how well I can save up for them. But it could also mean that this has satisfied the itch. I don't know. I will never say never on that. But anyway, let me show you a little bit more of what came with the knife, which isn't a whole lot, but, give a proper review of the knife now too. Now, this is the packaging for it, which is nothing dramatic or anything. This is really the packaging that Case uses for its, I think is what they call their exotic series or their custom series. So you have the black sleeve because this is stainless steel, and it has all the information there. You see medium toothpick, exotic, and then the YH stands for Yellowhorse, CH is Chala, and then cactus and turquoise. That's the full name of it, medium toothpick, exotic, YHCH, cactus, Turk. And then you see the born date there of February 6, 2024. And then the number up there, the EX 194 stainless steel, that's the pattern number, and 0094 is also the item number there. And you see their serial number 10. And so all of that comes with the knife. That's the outside of the box. Let me push this through. It does not come with a certificate of authenticity. I think the box is the certificate of authenticity. And then this is the case that comes with it. As you can see, I've had it opened a couple times, and we got a little burlap and other stuff in here. You got the velvet box with the white case material in the side, and then the gold stamping up on top. The knife is held in place with just a simple little elastic band there. I do not think there's anything underneath. Nope, that's it. So it's a nice little tin that it comes in, nothing fancy. This is not Yellowhorse packaging because this is not a true Yellowhorse. Well, it's a Yellowhorse custom in that it was made for Case by Brian Yellowhorse, but it is not like one of their special orders or anything like that they do. And you see here, otherwise, it is a typical Case knife. You got the brass liners, but it does seem to be the mirror polish on this actually puts the mirror polish of case knives to shame. So this is much more highly polished, and the work bolsters is really quite fascinating. The work that they did on the bolsters, or that Brian Yellowhorse did on the bolsters. And this is typical of the work that they do on them. I'm not sure why he did not do the whole bolster, but I kind of like the way he divvied it up a bit. That kind of reminds me a little bit of like a rattlesnake rattle on the end there of the powder horn. And then the finish between the chala wood and the nickel silver bolster is flawless. Everything about that is flawless there. And you see here almost straight down the middle with the lineup of the blade there. And the blade is nice and tight. Very nice and tight. There's no wobble at all in this knife. Everything is tight. From what I understand, these knives are completely taken apart by Yellowhorse and then put back together. So each knife is basically handmade. They take the case toothpick or whatever knife they have, take it completely apart, and then reassemble it, putting on the new handles and everything else, working the bolsters, and then reassemble it, repin it, and everything else, repolish everything. And they get the pad markings on the blade themselves, the Yellowhorse Case Custom. If you notice here, the stamp on here, the tang stamp, if you notice, there's 4 dots, and that's the old Longtail C. So this knife was actually made in 2016. So the knife was made about 8 years ago, and then the new born date for it is on the box here of February 6, 2024. So he might have been making these particular knives for as much as 7 years, or he might have just made them this year. I don't know. In any case, the build quality is superb. It not the same as what you see on your typical case knife. This is better than your typical case knife, which you should expect considering the price that you're going to pay for them. But I'm very, very happy with the end result of this. I was a little worried considering what I was paying for it, but at the end result is just you know, it's exactly what I was expecting. It's truly a piece of art. I know you could actually use it as a knife and go and cut things up with it and everything else. And maybe there are people out there who have no problem spending that kind of money on a knife and doing that. But no, I picked this up specifically to be the centerpiece of my collection, not to go out there and use it or anything else. This is one of those just gorgeous knives that you know, I'm gonna enjoy pulling out and looking at. And yeah, you're probably going to see it again in future videos, simply because, well, when you spend the kind of money I spent on this knife, you're going to show it off more than once, for sure. In any case, stick around, take a look at the slideshow. It'll show you some other close-up photos of this knife. And, well, I hope you enjoyed the knife as much as I did. And also, more importantly, if you've been doing like I was doing, where you save money up for a really expensive knife and then decide, you know what, I'm going to spend my money on something else instead, you may want to reconsider that, because do you remember what you bought with that money that you saved up for the knife you passed on? Because again, I do not remember the knives that I bought, but I remember the knife that I passed on. And that is something you really don't want to be doing a lot in your life. Any case, with that said, stick around for some slides. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.